So, you want to start a YouTube channel? Excellent. I have one question for you that you need to ask yourself before getting started. What's your why? Why do you want to start your channel? Even if your why at this point is simply because you're curious, something you've always wondered about. Maybe you don't have your topic or your niche narrowed down. That is okay. Curiosity is a great starting place. My why has been pretty clear to me for quite some time. It has been on my bucket list to start a YouTube channel for several years. It sat on my list for a long time. It sat there until after I retired, and now my bucket list evolved into my post-retirement living list, and starting a YouTube channel was still on the list until about a year after I retired. But then I took my leap. And my why, I have it written right on my channel, is to create content that will help create a little bit of ease and well-being in the world. And that doesn't mean I'm changing the world. That means on a very small level. Remember, I have less than 100 subscribers. I've had others tell me that my niche is too broad. I agree. It probably is, but that's okay. I'm just getting started. These are the things that I feel most curious about, most passionate about, and also that I have some experiences with. I will probably have to narrow down my niche, but I will do that as I get a little bit more YouTube experience under my belt. That is all part of the learning, and that is also part of the fun. If your why at this point is to create a little extra income, that's perfect. That's a great starting point. You may need to give some thought to your how you're going to do that and what your focus area is going to be or what your niche will be. Some questions to prompt your thinking. Think about, what are you good at? What do people tell you you're good at? Or what do you feel you're good at? Another question you can ask yourself are, what are the types of things that people come to me for advice for? That's always a great indicator of where some of your strengths may be. Another one is simply, what do you love to do? What areas do you already have credentials in or credibility in or some pretty solid experience with? Those are all great starting points. And these questions are just meant to get you thinking about that. But do not overthink these questions. You need to get started. Your answers will change over time. I learn every time I put out a video, and that's why they say just do it. Once you have your channel, just do it. Just get that first video out, because nobody watches the first video anyway, and you learn every single time you put a video out. My approach, like much of my approach with everything in life, is slow and steady. But I now have 30 videos up on my channel. I never would have thought that was possible 6 months ago. Think about your why, but do not make this more complicated than it has to be. A couple years ago, I heard this fun fact. It might be a frightening fact, depends on how you look at it or what your perspective is. But I heard it a couple years ago. And then just this week, as I was listening to a podcast, the Double Win podcast, and they were interviewing Jim Quick, and he shared this fact again, and it just resonated with me. He reminded us that the amount of information created from the beginning of humanity, from when humans walked the earth to 2003, is now the same amount of information that is created every 2 days. Think about that. That's a lot of information. There are lots of disturbing things about this little fact in terms of people being overwhelmed and stressed, but we're not going to chat too much about that. That's not what this video is about. One of the good things I see with this is that because people know there's so much information at their fingertips, they're constantly searching for information. So people go to YouTube to just look up topics and to find answers to their questions. And that can be things from the most basic skills to very advanced skills and experiences. Just for fun, when I was preparing this presentation, I was sitting at my desk. I thought, I'm going to just look something up. And so I went on YouTube and I looked up best way to vacuum. Now, in all honesty, that probably came to mind because as from where I'm sitting and I'm looking at it right now, I can see dog hair on my floor. And so I was thinking about vacuuming. So I went and I put this in YouTube, and look what came up. These two videos were the first two to come up. This video that you're seeing now was published 3 years ago, and it's about the most effective way to vacuum. 132,000 views. And I see that comments are still being made on it. People are still viewing it as recently as a month ago. So, still generating views, and probably that means still generating income. The second one that came up was this one about ShopVac, how to get the most effective, or how to use your ShopVac the most effective way. This was done about a year ago, almost 3 million views. Views can result in income for folks. So the topics do not have to be fancy or sophisticated. There's lots of very sophisticated and highly skilled topics out there as well, but it doesn't have to be complicated. Your expertise is needed. Once you get started, you will realize there are so many benefits. And if you're not convinced of this, check out this video when I talk about some of the very specific benefits to having a YouTube channel.